All right.
Okay. She's muted.
Oh, Princess, you can speak now. You're live.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the boardroom. Good to see everyone. Hale and Artie, looking good. Before you joined, we were actually playing the theme song from R. Kelly, I Believe I Can Fly. And we were all singing in the house. So no wonder the singing had continued in the background, okay? Um, so that song was really uplifting and empowering. If you're joining us for the very first time, this is the Business Readers Global Club where we come to study, we come to learn how to improve ourselves. We're very mindful about personal growth as leaders. We believe that leaders must read, okay, and not just read, must be enlightened. To be able to lead others, we believe that you must find true enlightenment through the culture of reading. And this is why for the past 2.5, 2 years, we've been, you know, understudying different leadership books and literature across business. Today, we are actually continuing our read for the month, which is the mind of the leader. This book is written by two leadership experts, Rasmus Hougaard and Jacqueline Carter. It says here that you need to know how to lead yourself, your people, and your organization for extraordinary results using the three main framework that has been postulated by these two writers. And that framework is what we call the MSC leadership. We've been able to unpack the first phase of the book, which is getting to know yourself, understanding yourself so that you can lead people using the framework. What is the framework? MSC. MSC is mindfulness, selflessness, and being compassionate. And we've been unpacking all of this framework from mindfulness, selflessness, and compassion to be able to lead not just ourselves, but our people. We're in the second phase of the book, and I like to read one of the review from Gisela A. Person. He's the Global Head Product Development and Global Product Strategy Finance, Genetech. And it says here, the mind of the leader provides tools for leaders to put people first. It provides a logical journey, starting with understanding the mind and then cultivating the quality to enhance presence, engagement, collaboration, and performance. We are going into chapter 8 of this book. Chapter 8 talks about selfless leadership, and selfless leadership enabled to understanding the people for you as a leader to be able to lead people. The presenter for today's topic is no other person but Samira Miko, who also doubles as the timekeeper for the Business Readers Global. It's a good thing she's the one leading the section, but we also have a timekeeper for today's section by Sir Oluwatoyin Ayedu, who is going to be tailing her presentation to ensure that she keeps the time just the same way she does to every member of the house. So I'd like to welcome you all to stay attentive, to listen. Samira is one of our very brilliant speakers. She is joining us from Abuja tonight and very well prepared to be able to lead us through the conversation. Samira, you're welcome.
Thank you, Princess. One of our selfless leaders. Thank you. So my name is Samira Miko, and I will be taking us to chapter 7, which is selfless leadership. Can we see the screen? Okay. So the chapter 8 is from the book, The Mind of the Leader. How to lead yourself, your people, your organization for extraordinary results. It's by the authors. The authors, I hope I say the name right, please. Rasmus, Hougaard, and Jacqueline Carter. So, what is selfless leadership? This name, please somebody should help me when I'm wrong. I hope I don't murder you. Lao Tzu says that a leader is best when people barely knows he exists. When his work is done, his aim is fulfilled. They will say, we did it ourselves. How many of us can boast of that? How many of us can boast of our team saying, yes, we did it ourselves? How many of us do not take the credit for, okay, I did it? Selfless leadership requires holding back from micromanaging people. You do not have to be in the detail of what people do. You don't have to keep them from two to two. Mr. Toyin, how many minutes do I have? Because I need to beat you guys at this timing too, so that I'll know what I'm doing.
Please take your time. I think you've got more than enough time, so just take your time and get about it.
All right, thank you. So in the book, the authors talk about having a platform for being a mindful leader. So for you to be a selfless leader, you have to be mindful. A selfless leader can coach and influence their people by leveraging on experience and knowledge, but only if you're being mindful of it. If you're not being the boss. If you have that mind of, okay, let me grow my people. Let me mentor. Let me coach, not micromanaging. This is how you do it. This is no, go and remove it. No. Not saying your way is the only way. So they also talk about that we move from a natural tendency to be effective. Sorry, are we still in chapter 8? I'm leaving from my chapter here.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. I wasn't seeing it on the screen. So I said we move from our natural tendency to be effective managers towards becoming inspiring and engaging leaders. So we can only do that. Remember, I said with mindfulness, and we've been talking about mindfulness and ego and selfless leadership right from the beginning of this book. This is chapter 8 now. So by now, we should be able to know where we're heading to. So these are some of the topics that were discussed. These are some of the ways you can be a selfless leader. So you have to be of service to your team, to the people around you. And then you are going to encounter challenges, which they stated as barriers to selfless leadership that will hinder you. So it depends on how you want to overcome them. And then the next thing they discussed is how to grow your people. For you to be a selfless leader, you have to know how to grow your people. Then the skillful non-action. If you see the non, it's in bracket. So skillful action, but it is a non-action. We'll get into it. And then there's letting go of your status. The next topic that was discussed in the book is give credit, take blame. And then there's radical acceptance. Then there's a short training on how to be a selfless leader. So let's begin with being of service. Next slide, please. Thank you. So this is from the book by Simon Peres, a former president of Israel. So he said, leaders have lost their way. Leadership is about being a servant, not a ruler. This is not about authority. This is about serving people. So as we talked about in chapter 4, the power that comes with leadership fuels our egos. You feel you're the boss. You're on top. You've gotten the leadership based on hierarchy. You're up there. You're the CEO. You're the head of the department. So it comes with an ego that we have to tame. As leaders, being of service is our true power. And servant leadership is a natural application of selfless leadership. So if you want to be a selfless leader, you have to practice servant leadership, which is serving the people. Okay, I don't want to go into politics. Let's just move on. Robert Greenleaf is a former AT&T executive and an author. He authored the book Servant Leadership. He made a distinction between legitimate power and hierarchical power. So legitimate power is power people give you based on how they see you, what you offer them, what they benefit from you, the advantages they get from being around you. Legitimate power is earned because people willingly give it to you. So you will see that there's in an organization, you see somebody that is not in that status of maybe authority, is being given some sort of power. People give them some sort of respect. People trump to them. They become some sort of a coach or a mentor to people. Sometimes even to people that are ahead of them based on hierarchy. So legitimate power is different from hierarchical power and authoritarian power that has been assigned by rank or title. Hierarchical power and authoritarian powers are being given to you by the organization, that is by people. There are titles given to you. But in Greenleaf's view, legitimate power comes from acting as a servant to others. Sometimes we misconstrue servant to others as being, how do I say it? As you just serving them. Being a servant to others means showing up moment to moment. It's about service, you being of service, not just being a servant. Because being a servant, in this case, you might neglect yourself. So servants to others in the sense that there's mindfulness in it. You're not serving others at the detriment, because sometimes there's a contradictory, how do I say it? Contradiction to it. So you have to do it mindfully. It should be a win-win situation, not you losing, them gaining, or them gaining, you losing. That is the other side of the leadership. So being of service means showing up moment to moment with an intention to support your people and your organization in the best way you can, in the best possible way you can. There's like head Tezos, he's a global head of benefits for Cisco. What he says is, for every week, he asks his team members, how can I help you do your job? So in this case, if you notice, he's not asking, how can you do your job more effectively? He's asking, how can I help you do your job? Please tell me, if somebody asks you this as a follower, how would you respond to such, or how would you open up to such a leader? Can just we get just a minute so that I can get. I can get feedbacks. How would you, when you get asked this, how would you feel and how would you open up?
Okay, let me just go. First.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can, Mr. Toyin.
Okay, so I was going to just say it all depends on a whole lot of things, right? Like the culture of the organization, the culture and of the environment itself. That's where the location of this organization. For instance, if someone asked me that question in Nigeria, and let's say I'm not working for a multinational, I'm just working for a local company somewhere. I will, I will definitely be concerned, that you're asking me that question, because I know that for my manager to ask that kind of question, maybe they are not satisfied with my job. But then I understand exactly what he was trying to say from his own perspective. In ourselves as servant leaders, to be able to empower others, basically, able to help them, because if your organization achieves its goals, targets, it rubs off positively on you as the leader. So of course, if you take your time to ask your subordinates or whoever you are leading that kind of question, it shows that you are into the game. It shows that you want their progress, you want their success, and I'll feel really very empowered. I think that's the word I should just use. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So yeah, okay. We're still in Nigeria, we're here, but even if you ask me that, for me, if you ask me that, I would feel, okay, you're trying to help. Yes, I might feel that, okay, maybe I did something that you want to correct, but you're trying to help me be better at what I can do. That's my own take. So there we have some barriers to selfless leadership. I have, from the book, I have 4. Ego. He says ego and fear and interconnectedness. So, but what I did here is ego and the fear of losing recognition, deep-seated fear of failure, and the illusion of independence, reluctance to share credit and take blame. So the first barrier is ego and the fear of losing recognition. Remember, we said as a leader, ego gets to our head. Some of the time. Sometimes it gets to us. Sometimes we're able to manage it. So leaders often struggle to let go of their ego. I'm the boss. I said it this way. You have to do it this way. This is how it has always been done. You have to do it that way. So he said leaders often struggle to let go of their ego, which craves praise, influence, and acknowledgement. Remember when I said when the team says in the quote, when the team says we did it ourselves. So this is what it means. When they prioritize selflessness, their ego resists, fearing a loss of status and significance. So some people, when they get selfless, for some people, they feel like they've lost their status. So people tend to hold on to ego and that fear that people have of them as this, with their title and their status. So they fear the loss of that. They fear the loss of, they think if they become selfless, you wouldn't treat them as the CEO or as the head. So there's another deep-seated fear of failure. Most of the time we have those fears. Leaders may experience existential fear about their success. They worry of not being recognized or appreciated, and that can escalate into anxiety about professional downfall, financial ruin, and personal rejection. Once you start being afraid of losing your success, you'll not be able to work with people. You'll not be able to coach people or influence people with your experience and knowledge. You feel that like, they can come and then they overtake you. And then they'll up down, they will come and overtake you and become ahead. And then you might lose your job, which comes into finances. We know the way financial ruin creates so much fear. And people think of personal rejection. People will reject you because you've lost out. But does that truly, just by being a selfless leader, does it truly mean that your fear is going to play out? It's just there. It's in your head, not the reality. The illusion of independence, that's interconnectedness. Many leaders mistakenly believe they are solely responsible for their success. Many leaders do not put it at the back of their mind that, okay, this is a team. The whole team is responsible for this success. You cannot work as an independent person. You need other people to fill in the blanks. You need other people to fill in parts of the puzzle because you can't know it all. So, but people fear the illusion. People have the illusion of independence that I can do it, forgetting that we have several people that are working together. So that creates a barrier to selfless leadership. I can do it by myself. Everybody wants to be recognized, only them. So the illusion prevents leaders from recognizing the countless visible and invisible contributions of others that make such achievement possible. The fourth one is reluctance to share credit and take blame. Without dissolving our ego, leaders may hesitate to give others credit or take responsibility for mistakes. This mindset limits the ability to foster good collaboration and truly selfless leadership. So there's a story, if you've read the book, let me get to the chapter. There's a story of, okay, let's get to that first. Let's move on. The story is about giving credit. So the next topic here is grow your people. So growing your people, you need to be committed to employee growth. You need to be able to mentor people and not micromanage them. You need to be able to shift recognition to others, not take the recognition yourself. You need to be able to create space for others to shine. So what we discussed here is what was discussed in the book was true leadership is not about fund training, but actively passing on insights, your experience that you've gained along the way, wisdom and experience to help employees become more capable, even surpassing the leader, because we learn from other people's mistakes. So there's something I highlighted that I want to share directly from the book. So this is about Morgan Tan. He says, Morgan recognizes that she achieves exponential impact by passing on her experience rather than trying to do everything herself. So she said, in my experience, really effective leadership is having the capacity to switch between being a mentor and a coach. That's what she told the authors when they were doing the research. She said this gives less experienced employees valuable feedback, insight, and support, while passing down wisdom and institutional knowledge. So that's for employee growth. Mentorship over management. Leaders should see themselves as mentors. This also, when we go back to the coach, also talks about mentorship. Leaders should see themselves as mentors and catalysts rather than managers. Do not micromanage. Give valuable feedback, constructive feedback, not criticism. Guide and give institutional knowledge that would make others grow. Shift recognition to others, acknowledge their contributions. So put your employees in the spotlight. Have you noticed how David always does the visuals and everything? Have you noticed how Princess always puts him in the spotlight for that? So something like that you do to people to recognize. And when she comes on, she's able to recognize people for their talent, their impact. Create space for others to shine. Leadership is about making room for people to grow and flourish. So step back so that you ensure long-term success. Because if you're the only one that notices it, the day you're not around, everything goes. Life is not certain. When anybody goes, they go with their knowledge, with their experience, and with their wisdom. The only way it gets passed on is when you pass it on to people and then you push them to the front. Give them that space to show themselves, to shine. Give them that opportunity. Mentors open doors. That's what mentors do. They open doors and they hold your hands. Not literally opening doors, but I know we do get it. So this approach ensures a lasting impact beyond individual success, shaping not just the organization, but the whole community. Because when you do that to somebody, they learn to do that to the next person too, instead of hoarding knowledge. So skillful non-action, with of non-action. Non-action has its own power, avoiding action addiction, creating space for growth. So there's something I highlighted from the book too. So in Chinese, the word for leadership includes two characters. That's the first part of the topic in the book. The first can be translated as lead, command, or direct, and the second can be translated as guide or shepherd. So it depends on which one you're taking to use. So take a moment, reflect on your own leadership style. The question here that was asked was, how much time do you spend commanding versus guiding? What is your balance here? So balancing command and guidance. Effective leaders require shifting between direct action and mentorship. The power of non-action. Not every problem requires you to solve it. Sometimes when you step back and take a look and just look, you see that the problem either solves itself or the person solves it. Or there's a new insight that emerges. So try to prevent yourself from unnecessary intervening unless it's something that you need to intervene or it's very urgent or might lead to something detrimental. Have you noticed that? Okay, for me, I've noticed that with children, because sometimes I notice I tend to micromanage. So sometimes when I don't tell them how to solve the problem, I notice that they find ways of solving it that is not similar to mine, but it still gets solved. So that is fine. But the way I keep holding myself to intervene, sometimes I have to leave the place. So it's not that easy saying it, but if you're truly intentional and mindful, you'll be able to do that non-action, as long as what you're going to intervene in is not urgent and is not detrimental. So avoiding action addiction, which is the same thing. So sometimes constant busyness can create the illusion of productivity. We tend to run around doing this, multitasking, which shatters your focus. Before, we like putting multitasking in our CVs, right? Right from the one, I knew I was very bad with multitasking, but it's now that I'm seeing studies showing that multitasking is not good for focus. It shatters focus. I've been seeing a lot of studies concerning that. So leaders should prioritize meaningful actions instead of reacting impulsively, ensuring strategic rather than frantic decision making. There's a matrix usually used for this. Okay, important, urgent, urgent, not important, not important, not urgent, not urgent, not important. So you can categorize them into that. Creating space for growth. So encourage self-direction in teams. That will foster resilience and adaptability. This is like repeating the same thing when we said, make the other person shine, make your followers shine. So some may mistake non-action for weakness, but it's actually not weakness. It empowers the individuals, the followers, your team, to develop skills too. Effective leadership is not only about solving problems. It's about knowing when to stop in and let good happen naturally. When you keep intervening, the wouldn't be good. So you can pick what stands out for you in that. The next topic that was discussed. Okay, sorry, before we go there, there's a quote by Roy in Skillful Done Action. It says, the easiest thing to do when you become aware of a problem is to push for an immediate fix. But often, when we are looking for a solution, we're actually looking in the same direction the problem came from. Instead, we have to look in different direction. We have to look to others. So that's non-action. We have to look inside ourselves, or we just have to let things be. Non-action can give us the space to do that. It allows you the pause to do all this. So it says, over the years, based on the research they did, Roy has been amazed to discover how many problems solve themselves or become obsolete if we just leave them alone for a while. So let go of status. Your status shouldn't define who you are. Leadership roles, wealth recognition create a false sense of importance. Hierarchies can create distance, especially in a very large population. Hierarchies create distance. So viewing yourself as superior or inferior to others reinforces separation. The feeling inferior wouldn't allow you to open up or to give suggestions in meetings and all. Being superior gives you that ego of shutting down people and saying your way is the only way. Rituals to shed ego. Leaders can practice self-awareness exercises, stripping away labels or status. Try the 360-degree feedback. So earlier, there's a presenter that talked about 360-degree feedback. It's very good for you to shed your ego. It's the 360 is when you get feedback from below the hierarchy upwards. So each and everyone gives feedback about the other person, not necessarily face to face. But if you have the mental capacity to take that one, it's okay. But sometimes organizations do it via links, via online. So you get to get feedback 360 from everyone in the organization, your colleagues, those below you. So that can shed your ego. Using authority sparingly. Leadership status is valuable for making tough decisions. So only when it comes to tough decisions, exercise your right as the leader. And even at that, you should use it wisely and mindfully. So a selfless leader creates stronger bonds and lasting impact by prioritizing connection over superiority, which the traditional approach is we prioritize superiority. So you can pick which of the ideas resonates with you. So give credit, take blame. Give credit, take blame. Empowering others, to take risks. Empower others to take risks. Create a safe space for growth. Detach from ego and recognition. Have you noticed the way ego keeps the member? Encourage experimentation and innovation. So from the book, there's a quote, Wen Li Wang. If you succeed, you will get all the credit. If you fail, I will take all the blame. So that is what she tells members of her team. So this is where the story I was trying to tell you earlier was. It's about a team member who made a very big mistake in the profession. It's where she talked to the team member, and then there was no blame assigned. But when she was meeting with the client, she actually showed the team member how to do it correctly. But when she was interacting with the client, she actually took the blame for the mistake and how it has been fixed. So empowering others to take risks. True leaders encourage their team members to step into challenging situations, assuring them that success brings recognition and failure is the leader's responsibility. Letting them know that you are there for them. Creating a safe space for growth. Leaders should foster environment where we feel safe for growth, learning opportunities, and allowing the employees to take risks, your team members. Detach from ego and recognition. Selfless leadership means avoiding the desire for praise and willing to accept blame. So encourage experimentation. There's this creative thinking that some organizations have said are coming up with, where you come up with your own ideas. So some companies celebrate failure, such as Intuit, these are the companies, and Edu demonstrates that risk-taking, trial and error. So you can have different creative ideas from people, and then it will be like a competition, and then get to pick the best, the whole team. So trial and errors are essential for long-term success. Leadership thrives when people feel supported and free to grow. So what part of this do you find most impactful, and can you pick? So there's the next one is radical acceptance. So radical acceptance, I have a highlight here. So it says radical acceptance is the wisdom of not making a bad situation worse, and selflessness helps us have radical acceptance. Even in situations that are truly bad, with selflessness, our ego is curbed, leaving a few buttons that can be pressed. We keep the ego in check, but it doesn't get the best of us. In this selflessness allowed Michael keep his head clear and focus. So what this was talking about was, this was a story where what the person did was, he actually set up a meeting with the CEO of the company and a client. He arranged all the calendars, did everything, but he forgot to invite Michael, who is the CEO. And when the client came and got tired of waiting, stormed off because he felt they were not ready to see him. That was when he remembered that he did not invite the CEO to the meeting. So he was thinking of ways to approach the CEO, that's Michael, and he went and met him. And then he told him. So he just laughed it off, trying to make him more comfortable. So what he did was, they now called back the clients because it was a very big account that they couldn't afford to lose. And then Michael took the blame, and then they rescheduled another meeting. But he didn't get upset because it had already happened. Being upset or seeking for blame would not solve the situation. The way forward is what is needed. So that is for radical acceptance. I started with that. So let me just listed. So radical acceptance is talking about accepting mistakes without overreaction, which is what Michael did. Curb ego to enable thoughtful responses. You have to curb your ego for you to be able to think clearly and then be able to come up with how to solve the solution to the issue. Radical acceptance turns crisis into learning opportunities. Okay, what did we do right? What did we do right? What went wrong? How can we make it right next time? Cultivate resilience through practice. So for you to develop resilience, you have to learn to remain composed under pressure. Mindfulness also comes in because we know there are some pressures that will break you. But what mindfulness will actually help you be able to manage it. So mastering radical acceptance transforms problems into growth opportunities rather than setbacks. So what do you think? Does this principle align with your own personal leadership philosophy or not? So training selfless leadership. So to train yourself for selfless leadership, these are some of the practices. So one is mindfulness and reflection. Since the beginning of introduction and chapter one, we've been going back to mindfulness, reflection. Begin each day with self-awareness exercises to foster humility. Deliberate pauses before reacting. It can be a breath, a deep breath, or you can use your 5 senses: what you see, what you smell, what you feel, what you taste, what you can hear. You can use them in the way that they will work for you to ground you, because sometimes not a formula doesn't work for everybody. Encourage team ownership. Employees to take initiative and trust their judgment. Learn to trust your employees' judgment and allow them to grow without fear of blame when something goes wrong. It's a mistake that can be learned from. So reframing mistakes as lessons. Mistakes are lessons to learn from and grow from. Normalize failure as a stepping stone to improvement. With steady practice, this is an easy peasy thing that we can do. Not easy peasy per se, but with mindful practice. So, Mr. Toyin, do I still have time? Because I want us to do this exercise. Do I have?
How long do you think that will take?
It's just 5 minutes.
Okay, we'll just go for it then. Since you've already taken us to this point, yeah, we'll just go for it.
Yes, I'm done with the slides. So it's from the book, but I would like us to practice it because I know we might not have practiced this by ourselves. So, Mr. Twain, can we have a timer for 5 minutes, please?
Okay, Princess, can you help us with the timer, please? Sorry.
Yes.
Because I don't have access to it.
Okay. So I want everyone to, this is from the book. So I want every one of us to sit comfortably and ideally in a seated position. So for a few minutes, pay attention to your breath. In, out, pay attention to how you're breathing. Breathe in and then breathe out. So make your body relaxed and your mind. Are we there? I should be able to see reactions, I think. So if we're there, can I see reactions? If you're relaxed.
Let me know when to start the timer.
We've started.
Oh.
You can start it now.
Okay.
So let me get reactions if you're relaxed. Notice your breathing. Just breathe in and out. Lady Umi, you're chewing. You're not breathing. So, are we there yet? Breathe in. Out through the mouth. Again. out. One more, in, out. So now consider the people who made today possible for you. We are focusing on today. Those who attended the meetings you attended. Those who helped organize your time. Those who contributed to the projects you are involved in, each and every one. Those who made it possible for you to have something to eat. Those who expressed appreciation for you. Anyone else who made today possible for you. Consider them. Consider how deeply interconnected you are with others. Only through others you are able to be you and achieve what you achieve. Allow a realistic sense of humility to arise. You're only a little piece in a larger interconnected play of events. The world will keep spinning even if you're not around. Life will go on. Sit with this humility for a moment. Take a moment to be grateful to all those who contribute to your ability to live your life the way that you do. For a minute or two, simply sit with a sense of gratitude. Let's reflect on this. Are we there yet?
I think we've got a minute on the countdown. About a minute.
How do you feel?
I would say I felt a sense of gratitude, reflecting.
Yes. For me, it makes me feel a sense of belonging in a whole, a larger puzzle. I don't know if you get it, like a piece in the larger circle of life. Who remembers Lion King? The circle of life, where everything plays, everyone has a part to play. So, thank you. I hope with these few points of mine, you're convinced and not confused about chapter 8. Thank you for showing up and having me. So over to you, Princess.
Wow. So you see, I almost forgot my line. I forgot to jump in because this is a state of calm that you would expect from every leader. And I've been really wishing that one of us would be able to walk us through the practical section, which you just did now. So Samira, thank you very much for doing that. As is usual with the boardroom, please give Samira her flowers. Very detailed presentation. You unpacked all the important lessons of chapter 8, and you made it make sense, with great examples. You reflected on every line. You gave us, practical innuendos to every, aspect of this presentation. Your presentation was very insightful. And for me, the last exercise just capped it. I think that's what was needed for me this evening. Already, I started from a very high mood of joy, you know, and then to get into the point where we have to reflect on gratitude. And like you rightly said, remembering that we are a small part of the big picture, that we have a role to play in whatever situation, wherever we find ourselves. I think that is the most fulfilling, and that is the key driver to all our effort, to everything that we do. So I'm very grateful for your presentation. I'm also very grateful for you, young lady, my Arewa queen. I'm very grateful, for our timekeeper to be in the house, to everyone who is in the house. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Over to boardroom members. Please give your flowers. This particular presentation deserves dollar notes, some diamonds. Please give your flowers. And
Okay.
verbal accolades. Over to you.
Yeah, I'll jump in there because I would want to have the opportunity to say something to I know Lady Umi is itching to say something, but before let me give my 2 cents. Okay, so brilliant presentation, like Princess has said, if we are to give you a score for this presentation, I think you'll get an A. The only reason why you won't get an A plus is because this was a very packed presentation. I think you are the first person who has taken us into, and I think this chapter is very detailed, and you did so much work on it. Really, I didn't want to stop listening to you. You brought so much life into the room. You brought so much. You went into so much attention to detail in terms of the writer's perspective. But why I said you wouldn't get an A plus, why you missed that plus part was the fact that for your presentation, you should have done yourself the utmost favor of making this more visual, if you understand what I'm saying. Your presentation, the points in the presentation were just too superb for you not to make this visual, at least to some extent, right? It was you just had the text flowing and the text flowing and the text flowing. I think there should have been some introduction of some pictures, some things to just create that relaxed atmosphere. When the people who look at your presentation, there are things that just kind of helps with the calming nature of the way the slide looks. It helps like sort of massage. I don't know which part, whether it's the prefrontal or whether it's the medulla oblongata or something that it's massaging in your head, but there's a way it massage something that you just see those pictures, just make it, those images just makes it really suiting to view. So I as much as I enjoyed the presentation, because I enjoyed your voice, the DJ late night voice. I enjoyed the flow, the way you were. I didn't want to stop listening to you actually, but sometimes I wanted to take my face off the slide because it was just continuous. It was just like that. And this is just feedback, for next time. But overall, lady, our coach Samira, you have done so far, I would say, your best presentation ever. with the BRG group. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Very well said, our elder statesman. Very, very well said.
Thank
And
you.
I think
was
I think that
hoping
is a
you would not
valuable.
notice there are no pictures. I was hoping because
Aha!
it was a rocky
Aha!
walk. I was hoping. Thank you.
You got it there. You got it there, Oluwatoye. You said it very sweetly. Let me use that word. You said it
Yeah.
very nicely. And I think you also knew, Samira. And like you said, you were hoping that we will miss it. But
I
I'm
knew,
hoping
but
that
I was
I
rushed.
was
I did it
hoping
in 2 hours. Yeah. I was
that
hoping.
one member of the boardroom will not miss it. Beautiful, beautiful. But that's just you still got your A anyway, so cool.
Yeah.
David wants to say something before Umi. Let me give David because David is stunned. You know, he's a little piece in the larger interconnected play of event. And after David's experience in the boardroom, in the practical boardroom, now I think he can take that particular word and underline it and give himself some credit that I'm part of that piece, part of that puzzle. You
Yeah.
know, David, what do you say? And he's looking fresh, by the
First of
way.
all,
Today, I don't understand. Did you go to the salon or something? Because
No
thank
bullying.
you very much.
I know I can see you must have gone to the salon, David. You're looking charming
Yes,
this
I went to
evening.
the salon. I went to the salon over
Aha,
the weekend.
aha, got it.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Samira. I mean, I love your presentation actually. Like, I was just, aside from, controlling the side, I was just looking at you and hearing you speak, right? I couldn't even touch my phone because, I mean, it was, the way you're saying it, it was what was on the slide. Awesome presentation, very insightful. And it shows that this chapter is very, very detailed, and you're able to, like, make it into not less than I had to look at the slide again. It's not more than 11, but the chapter is very detailed, and you just summarize it into that small piece and you give it to us wholly. And I really love it. Very amazing presentation. I mean, I took notes, and one of the notes that I took was part of this. I had to go and search for this quote, the full quote on the book. Immediately you say the statement, like, that's very, 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 I mean, it stands out for me too. Like, you are only a little piece. Like, so again, just my own summary, if I was as a Yoruba boy, my own summary of this chapter, I would say that the word I would say is Emma Mayele. That means don't take life too hard. So don't think that the life will start with you, life will end with you. You are the front, center, back, and everything. You want to be the all-knowing, almighty. It won't happen like that. One day you come, you live this life, right? Those people that you think you can have control over, right? You will end up one day you will not even be there. You don't even be there to be able to control them. So why not influence them in the right way? Why not show them right how to do things when you are not there, when you are not, because even when you are there, when you are always the one in control, right? You're not even giving yourself that freedom to even advance in life too, because you just be boxing yourself to only micromanaging people, right? So, I mean, it's a lesson for everybody to learn from, and it's a lesson that needs to even go out to the whole world, to everyone out there, right? And I think we are streaming this kind of thing because definitely one day, someone will come across this kind of content and will enjoy it, very, very sure. And we'll even have to go back to the book to read the full chapter. I mean, I love it so much. I think kudos. I will give it a 5 star. But aside from the look and feel of the presentation, that is the slide presentation, I think you did well. I mean, I don't need to go back to it. Mr. Tony has already given your feedback on the slide presentations. That's all from my own end. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, David. Very well said. Umi, over to you.
Well, Lady Samira, well done. Thank you for a beautiful presentation. Honestly, I enjoyed every bit of it, just like what others said. The chapter was big. In fact, I was discouraged when I saw it. So because I was even busy, I didn't read it. But honestly, you captured every bit. Well done, well done, well done. I really enjoyed it. So what stick out for me was that you told me, Samira, that do not control, empower, don't micromanage. So this really is the truth. If you want something to be done your way, I think that's not the way. Show the steps, show what you expect, and then allow them. They can use their, let them try it on their own. So truly, that stuck to me, and I'm going to sit back and start to see how I can start empowering people more rather than micromanaging them, because I think it's because I don't train them well. Probably that's why I don't have confidence that they'll do it well. And not only in the office, at home. I think I do a little bit of micromanagement on my son. So I will really watch out to make it, instead of I should empower, I should not control him. I should just empower him so that he will start to learn to make his decisions himself, and he will grow to be making the right choices instead of me always guiding it. Do this, do that, don't do that. I just got that. So Samira, it's like you just come and just harass me in this your presentation, just to point out one of my weaknesses. Thank you.
Samira, you sent Umi into deep thought. Did you see the flow of her speech? She was so calm. That is very much unlike Umi. Umi starts from high and then descend. But today she started from low and then she went high. That is so strange. This therapy has to continue because I think we need to rewire ourselves from the boardroom. This therapy really has to continue. Wow, Umi, we will all be reflecting. I'm humbled myself.
Did you read what David wrote in the chat?
Allah, David. I want my humility, but honestly, I have to be hi. I say, what is Samira saying?
I think sometimes we forget that we're alive. But anyway, it's just very beautiful that we should be, authentic in this boardroom. We will tell ourselves the truth and learn. You said it in one of your presentations, like you have to, be radically kill me. What did you even call itself? Let me go back to the picture. I took it. Oh, my beautiful girl, you did a brilliant job. Radical acceptance, right? You have to turn crisis into learning opportunity. Very important. And the way you packed the slides was so beautiful because it's broken down in smaller bits, but you just found a way to consolidate the slide, which is very lovely. Thank you so much. Is Miriam Busoye, Dr. Murayo, and of course, HOD book review. And interestingly, all the book review team have this late night DJ voice. It's like we have to rotate. Umi, let's move them out. Let them go to strategy. And then we all go to book review. Maybe we will adapt some of the habits that they have in their group, because all of them have this soothing, very calm voice. HOD, are you available to speak?
Yes, I'm getting into my late night DJ groove. Samira, thank you so much for that beautiful presentation. In fact, as Umi said, I really began to think about myself and how I work with the people I work with, as their supervisor. And then it began to make sense to me, Actually, sometimes we micromanage and we feel we are the only ones that should do everything. And then I think in the end, it leads to some kind of discontent amongst employees, and when they see you, they're like, okay, I'm going to leave everything for you. And then in the end, they don't even get anything done because you're used to micromanaging. So thank you so much for that presentation. But then I started thinking again, sometimes as a leader, you cannot help but micromanage. Maybe at the beginning, but then at what point do you let go? I was just thinking about it in my head. At what point do you let go? Because sometimes when mistakes, if we allow them to happen, mistakes can be very expensive, especially for a business. So sometimes, at what point do you let go? At what point do you try them out? At what point do you say, okay, let them experiment, let's see. So I think that's something very delicate, whereby you as a leader, you really need to understand the level that the people you're working with are before you can fully, let go and not micromanage. So I think that's food for thought for us. At what point do we let go, and what mistakes are acceptable? you know. But thank you so much. It's something to think about, and I think I'll think about it and then see, how I can just let go completely. Yeah. Well, maybe not completely, but to some extent. Thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Nenla. Very well said. This was a conversation that we started with Miriam, and it just took me back because I think at some point you're going to have this tendency. It depends on a variety of factors. It depends on you, the leader. It depends on your skill set, your capability, your ability to be able to empower people to see what their strengths are. It also depends on the face, and this is my opinion, and I think everybody can add their contribution. It also depends on the nature of the organization. It depends on the stage of that organization. For a startup, I've experienced even the sets of people we just employ them not because of their expertise, but just because they're available. And at that point, you have to babysit practically everybody in the organization for a startup. But if you employ people who are matured, seasoned, expert, don't tell me I'm working with somebody like Oluwatoyin. I'll come and be micromanaging Oluwatoyin or any of you in the boardroom. You all are seasoned. I can't do that. At the early stage, want to be able to give instruction to say this is the way things should go. Once you take off and you're steady and you are able to rank everybody's strengths and abilities, their weaknesses, you know what to put in their hands for them to succeed and they do well. If you take graphics from David and you give it to Busoye, you will manage Busoye. Does that make sense? You'll be micromanaging her because that is not her strength. That is how it is. So if you look at the strength of the individual in your organization and give them tasks that you know that they will excel in, trust me, they will be happy to even do their job. So most managers, and I think it is the level, because I haven't read 15 books plus now. Well, I don't borrow now. I did completely another level. With all these leadership books that we are reading, I know how to deal with my staff a little bit more better than when I was younger. And I think it's the same for each and every one of us. It might be just different. I used to be a control freak. I want things done my way, but not anymore. Samira said something that was very valid. You let them, they might do it a little bit slower. So I don't tell, and I give you an example. I cannot tell my daughter to sweep the home when I'm going to have guests. You know how much time it to take her to sweep just the living room? Does that make sense? When I'm going to have guests, when I'm on heat, I'm trying to wait for guests to come in. I cannot give her such responsibility at that point. Does that make sense? Right? So, but when it's just me and her relaxing on a Friday evening, I can say, if you like, clean your room, take 20 hours to do that. She will still deliver by cleaning her room. At that point in time, there's no urgency. And the Eisenhower matrix does help. If you use that matrix for time management and prioritization, it will help you in how to delegate stuff to employees and vice versa. I don't know if anybody has a contribution on that note. Oluwatoyin, I see that you want to unmute yourself.
And Princess, you spoke everything I would have said, even though I won't have said it as good as you. So perfect, brilliant. That's exactly what I would have loved to say in terms of giving people opportunity to do work, but you have to be quite strategic about it in terms of you talked about urgency. For instance, you know that this is going to be our opportunity to get the best deal or some sort of opportunity for a contract or something. You don't hand that to an amateur. You do that yourself, but then there will be other opportunities within the organization or at times when something not as that would have less likely smaller impact or less impact on the organization if it fails. You can delegate such um, you know, tasks to
Responsibility.
people for responsibility for over time and see how they improve, and that will help. And also, you should be ready to once in a while ready to risk. Um, you should be ready to risk that task, even if it will be something that would have a high impact on the organization, depending um, because you may not be available to do it. It's not every time. Availability is also another factor here. If you are somewhere else and if staff need to do something on your behalf, just give them the instructions and also see if they will do it right. And it doesn't mean that if you lose that contract or whatever, it's not the end of the world. You if it's something that they didn't do negligently in a way that maybe okay, it was out of total negligence. Like the CEO Samira mentioned about, he laughed over that situation and they had the meeting rescheduled. It was not the end of the world. Other CEOs would have probably said, "Oh, let's put him on suspension or let's sack him," And so it's just things that we can manage basically. Like David said, Yoruba the other time, it's not, the world is not coming to an end. So let's have that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I think as business owner, we should consider our legacy. What is going to be your legacy? And then also have this mindset that, what if I'm not there? What if I go out and I don't come back? Will my business stay another 5, 10, 20, 15 years after me? So that we begin to empower people with the right mindset. People come and go, yes, but people should be happy working for you. It matters. Dr. Morayo.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Dr. Morayo.
Yeah, thank you very much, Samira, for this lovely presentation. I thoroughly enjoyed myself, especially with the practical aspects at the end. And it's brought me to the thought that most of us don't practice mindfulness as such. I was at a program yesterday too, where mindfulness, like what she just passed us through, was done, and it opened my eyes wide. And when she did this one too at the end of her presentation, it's something that we should try and inculcate in our daily schedule. It's helpful, it makes us relax, and it makes us in tune with the environment. Most people, when you said you should breathe in, it's the shoulder that will rise up instead of the tummy sucking it in. So that it's only the upper lungs that are aerated. But if we make it a habit to be breathing in, make sure that our stomach our tummy sucks in. And then when we are breathing out through the mouth, the same thing happens through our tummy. That way, all the lungs are aerated, especially the lower lungs that we don't aerate well. And it brought a lot of relaxation. You'll be mindful, and then gratitude too will fall in. So it's just to encourage all of us to try and inculcate in our daily practices. And then on a lighter note, I'm surprised our coach Samira, that is our timekeeper, time stood still for her today.
Now it's village.
Dr. Mariah, we couldn't say anything. No. We can't say anything. Nobody can even go close to time in this case.
You have not done your presentation, Dr. Mariah.
You are looking for trouble with Dr. Marayo. Please leave those that after your own we can put head together and do it. You understand? We will be on Samira. But let's keep quiet.
Okay.
Dr. Mariah, thank you for redeeming us because we couldn't say anything. No. Otherwise, she would now be present in all of our presentation. Thank you so much. Lady Miriam, Lady Busoye, any comments? Miriam, can you speak? Special consideration for special people. I agree.
The Dubai connection. The Dubai connection. They don't want to speak.
They are very busy. So
They've
anyway,
tried. I'm sure they are in bed already. It's too late over there. So
it's late.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, we are on bed. Good evening. Thank you, Lady Samira, for the presentation. And everybody has said it all what I wanted to say. In fact, I was waiting for Mr. Twain. I was waiting to hear his comments. That is he going to be partial because it's the timekeeper speaking today. So thank you for your candor. Because to be honest, the presentation, I wasn't able to read it, but I was paying full attention to what she was saying. So thank you for the beautiful presentation. And what stood out for me was the interconnectedness, how nothing stands alone. So as in just and then the mindfulness practice. I like that part as well too, because it was very practical and inspiring as well. Just made us to see a larger picture, to reflect more intentionally on our rules within a larger system. So thank you for that presentation.
Thank you very much, Lady Busoye. Very well spoken. So, Oluwatoyin, you are being washed in the house. You cannot be partial. You cannot be, yeah. But you are never partial. You're never partial. Miriam said something, yeah. My Ocho did, took the words off my lips. Well done on the presentation by Samira. You did awesome as usual, and she gave you some diamonds, and she also gave you dollars. I'm going to count this. I don't know if it's $1, but this is a bundle of dollars. So Samira, you do have money this evening. You do have a lot of money. Please, you know where you meet. You know where you meet. Go and collect your dollars. So, Oluwatoyin, on that note, I think.
I was just going to say something quickly before you close. Just to tell you how powerful Samira's presentation was tonight. You can see we started off with 9 people on this call, and we still have all 9 present. I think she deserves some sort of thumbs up, hand of applause.
Yes.
Because it really carried us, through, and you can see the sort of discussions that we've had, based on the presentation, because it's all usually it's garbage in, garbage out. It's what you put in, it's the effort you put in that would produce the results. And so she has been able to exemplify that great leadership skill tonight. So Thank you, Samira.
Very
Thank you
well
so much.
said. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I think we should not say anything, on that. That's very well said. Thank you so very much, boardroom members, for joining from across the world, from Canada, Dubai, Lagos, Abuja, UK. Did I miss anybody? Yes. And National Hospital. We have to give National Hospital a special reference in that geographical location because there's a doctor who is always attending not from her home, but from the hospital, which we commend and we admire. So thank you very much, boardroom members, for joining us tonight. And to all the YouTube members watching us, we say good night from Dubai, good afternoon from Canada, good evening from Nigeria and UK. And yes, of course, good night from us. Bye-bye, everyone, and God bless.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.